to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Water you turned into wine, open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you, none like you. Into the darkness you shine, out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Into the darkness you shine, out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. God, you give and take away. You give and you take away. But my heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. Oh, you give and take away. You give and take away. For you are God. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Blessed be your name. Oh yeah. We want to see things for the way they really are. Open our eyes. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see. I want to see you. Lift it up. Let me hear you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see. I want to see. To see you high. To see you high and lifted up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. See you high and lifted up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. To see you high and lifted up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, we cry, holy, you are holy, holy. I want to see. Lift it up. Holy, 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 holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see. Holy eyes of my heart. Yeah, open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. Yes, you are holy. The splendor of a king, clothed in majesty. Let all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. Age to age he stands, lost without hope, with no place to begin. Your love made a way to let mercy come in. When death was arrested and my life began, ash was redeemed, only beauty remains. And my orphan heart was given a name. My mourning grew quiet, my feet rose to dance. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Released from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. My shame was a ransom he faithfully bore. He canceled my debt and he called me his friend. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Our Savior displayed on a criminal's cross. Darkness rejoiced as though heaven had lost. But then Jesus arose with our freedom in hand. That's when death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Oh, we're free, free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever every chain will break. His broken hearts declare his praise. Well, who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Oh, every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. So open up the gates, make way before the King of Kings. Our God who comes to save is here to set the captives free. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Oh, yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here this afternoon. We're going to start in just a few minutes, so if you can get your food, find your seat, and we'll give you just a few minutes.
Who can stop the Lord Almighty? 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 Oh, who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Oh, who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord?
everyone. If you want to keep eating, we're just going to start our program today. So thank you so much for being here. My name's Casey Wheelis. I am one of the morning anchors at WVLT TV in Knoxville. If you guys haven't watched us, we start at 4:30, dark and early, every morning. We give you the news you need to know, but we also try to make it fun. So give us a chance if you haven't watched us in the mornings. We'd love to have you as a viewer. This is my first in-person event that I've emceed in over a year, and it is so wonderful to see all these faces. This last year has been hard for a lot of people. It's probably been lonely for a lot of people. When I was asked to MC this event, I knew about this organization. I knew all the good work they did. But I did a little bit more digging, and I had no idea what children go through when they're ripped from their homes. So in a year where we all have felt lonely at one point, it's nothing compared to what these children go through when they're pulled from these homes. That's why it's so important that we're all here today supporting this cause. We want to thank some of the sponsors today and the supporters. Buffett Heights, the host of this event, thank you for having us. Cornerstone Church is our satellite location as well. We want to give a big shout out to our tech gurus today, Dustin Vaughn and Matt Bowers, thank you, in the back. The sponsors Publix, Benefit Your Life, Clean Juice, Party City, West Welch Reed Engineers, Schaefer Insurance Agency, Fellowship North, TIS Insurance, Hometown Lenders, Hunter and Associate Tax Service, Fostering Hope Tennessee, Sunny Snow Iambos, I hope I said that correctly, the Trendy Trivet, and Youth Villages. I do want to welcome up Dave Thomas, the pastor of Buffett Heights, to start us with prayer.
Welcome. We're very glad that you're here, and I hope that you will enjoy your time with us. It's our pleasure to be able to host this event, and we're excited, and we'll be sharing with you an exciting announcement a little later on as we go. Let me get a little business out of the way. Some of the most important things you're going to hear from me. Where are the restrooms? If you were to need a restroom while we're eating, we want you to go ahead and get up and go as you need to. If you'll exit the room at the rear, take a left. There are men's and ladies' rooms as well as a water fountain right down the hall. Now let's pray and ask the Lord's blessings on our food. Our Father, we're thankful for what you do, and we're thankful that you have a heart of compassion for people. Lord, as we are here, as we hear the story of Isaiah 117 house, as we are challenged to impact children's lives, we pray, Lord, that you would move in our hearts to have a great heart of compassion and generosity. Thank you for all that you have already done. Thank you for providing this food. We ask, Lord, that you would bless it to nourish our bodies, that we may serve you faithfully. In Jesus' name, amen.
We have a lot of wonderful speakers today. The first one I want to introduce is Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
Thanks, Casey. And when I speak, it's actually, you have to do this for me every time. You have to raise the microphone, but we'll get used to it. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome to Knox County for those of you who aren't from Knox County, and welcome to this event here today. Before I begin, I'd like to recognize some special people myself, the elected officials who are here. We have State Senator Becky Massey, who's here. Knoxville City Councilwoman Seema Singh. Where's Seema's around someplace? Juvenile Court Judge Tim Irwin, who will be speaking here in a little bit. And from my office, the Director of Community-Based Initiatives for Knox County, Sharon Shanks. So thank you all for being here. As you hopefully know, Isaiah 117 House provides physical and emotional support in a safe and loving home for children awaiting final or foster care placement. When children are removed from their homes, for whatever reason, they typically are taken to the Department of Human Services or the Department of Children's Services to await placement with the foster family. This can happen in a couple hours, or sometimes it can take a full day. As they wait, these kids are scared, lonely, and hungry. Isaiah 117 House seeks to change that by providing a place where kids can wait for a safe placement comfortably. Volunteers provide waiting children with clean clothes, toys, blankets, smiles, and love. There are already 4 homes in Tennessee, and Knox County is proud to be added to the list with other regional counties. Foster care and the successful introduction to it is imperative to the future success of the children in this system. I've seen firsthand how important foster parents are. Brad Hare from my team is here today as well. Brad and his wife, Catherine, recently adopted 3 little girls that they were fostering. Big news from the Hare household. Their middle child, Haley, graduated from preschool, and we learned yesterday that she wants to either be a mermaid or a Wonder Woman when she grows up. Brad's kids were very blessed to find such a loving family to grow up in. But unfortunately, it's not like that with all foster youth. Across the country, there are 424,000 foster youths with a median age of 6.5 years old. Sadly, recent studies show that only half of foster care children finish high school, and less than 3% graduate from 4-year college. Here are some other startling statistics. 25% of children who age out of the system suffer from PTSD, and 20% become instantly homeless. And despite there being more than 34 million entry-level jobs nationwide, many foster youths aren't prepared to be independent and don't have the skills or resources to find these opportunities. Those that can find work make an average income annually of only $7,500. With the help of Isaiah 117 House, Knox County can continue working to ensure that all our children, regardless of their situation, have every opportunity for a strong foundation so that they can see a future where they work and raise a family in this community. I know that we are going to hear some powerful words today about the importance of this program, so thanks again for being here. Sorry, I always have to do this too, so thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Jacobs. Now I want to introduce the Honorable Timothy E. Irwin, a juvenile court judge who knows all too well what some of these families go through.
He could have left it up. It'd been fine. Would have been great not to have to make that adjustment. I think most of you in the room know what I do. I see a lot of familiar faces out there. I have been your juvenile court judge for the past 15 years. In the past 15 years, I have seen thousands of children come through my court. When I first went on the bench, shortly after Judge Garrett died, I had 300 total children in some type of state custody. So I had 51 of those children in custody for delinquent matters. They'd been in trouble. So I had 249 in custody that needed a place to go, that were somehow found to be dependent, neglected. And some of you were around then and helped provide places for them to go. I'm grateful for that. At one point, just a year or two ago, I had over 800 children in custody. So in 15 years, 300 to 800. Oh, and when I had that 800 in custody, I only had 17 of those that were in trouble because they'd been delinquent. So really it was a much worse jump than even 300 to 800. We can't recruit, we can't find, we can't locate enough beds for the children that are coming into custody. We have to take care of them. We have to keep removing them because where they live is dangerous. They will have no quality of life if we leave them where they are. So we've got to find somewhere to place those children. Where Isaiah's house comes into me is the interim horrible period when I've removed a kid and I've told that DCS worker, Department of Children's Services, for those of you that might be new to this world, worker, find a place. And they look up at me and say, Judge, we don't have one. And so then the child sits in an office. And Mayor, I wish it was just a day. It's longer than a day. And the people that are in this business, they know that. So now we have a chance to have a wonderful place for these children to go, be watched by the same DCS workers, but in a home setting, in a place where they feel good about themselves. And we can lower that trauma, that post-traumatic stress disorder that 25% of the children have. I imagine that's on the low side, by the way. We can lower that stress, at least for a little while, until they find a permanent place to go. It breaks your heart to know that you're sending a kid to the Western Avenue office, and they're good people there. I see a lot of, I don't have an antagonistic relationship with the Department of Children's Services. We keep each other in line, but we do it in a friendly fashion. I've got a lot of respect for the work that they do. But Isaiah's house can make both our jobs so much easier. It breaks my heart when I put a child in custody to know that they're going to be sitting at the DCS office during the day and in a respite home at night for 3 or 4 days before they find them a place to go. Damaged children, it's even tougher. Children that have had a sexual awakening, it's even tougher. Children that are insane or mentally retarded, it's even tougher to find those spots. We're not talking about placing kids here that are violent. We're talking about placing kids here that have great needs. And it'll be a wonderful, wonderful day in Knox County and in my world when it happens. Thank you for being here and showing an interest and helping to make it possible. I hope you understand from me how important it is and how much we need this. And I look around the room and I see a lot of people that should already know this story, and they know how important it is. I see guardian ad litems. I see people in all kind of contract situations with the department. I see the department here. I see the people here in this room. We need to make this happen. I believe it's going to happen. Oh, by the way, I have brought a check from the Juvenile Court Assistance Board to help make it happen. I'm ethically prohibited from raising funds or being a featured speaker at a fundraiser. But I'm going to tell you, Isaiah's house is a great thing. You folks figure out how to make it happen from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Irwin. And for those of you who are wanting to help already, there are envelopes on your tables. We'll get to explaining those in a minute, but there will be plenty of options to help today. I would now like to introduce Karen Brodnex, the Resource Linkage Coordinator for Knox County DCS.
At my church ministry, one of the things that we have are affirmations. And one of our affirmations is we are overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. But one of the things that you have today is a voiceless generation who can stand on this pulpit because they're not here. So you got me. I get to actually stand and tell you about the trials and tribulations that we've gone through. For about the past 10 years, I've tried to maintain a clothing closet at the office. When you have 3 kids who walk in the office who came out of a meth house and the only thing they have on is a hospital gown, you try to figure out how to make it happen. When you have kids who are sitting up in cubicles, you go to your staff and you ask, can we take the file room and turn it into a safe room in the building, only to discover that it's still not enough. We have food and snack that we try to put in. We have people who sometimes try to bring gift cards and will go purchase food for kids. but still sometimes all they wanted was just a home-cooked meal. How many kids do you have that say, I'm just tired of fast food? Can I have a sandwich? We have so many workers who spend countless hours and dollars out of their own pocket. I know of one staff person who actually got a credit card just so he could make sure he could purchase meals for kids. Yeah, we get reimbursements later, but if you buy 3 meals for a kid that's been sitting in your office for 9 days, calculate the math. It's very difficult sometimes. And so we try to make sure that the kids are as comfortable as we can make them. We do the best we can. We're not even supposed to bring in cooked spaghetti or anything like that because you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to provide in other manners, but we try our best to make things work the way we can. But let me tell you how much help this is going to provide for us. So if I get a child that comes in and they need a bath, I don't have to have 2 staff people standing in the bathroom with rags at the sink trying to wipe a kid down because we don't have a place for them to take a shower. Or we don't have a place to treat lice and we're doing it in the break room and wigging everybody out who's like, oh my God, I cannot eat in the break room anymore because they clean for lice. We didn't have a place to go. That's where we make up the difference. This is where we make the greatest impact. And this house has already made a great impact in other counties, which is why when the next person comes up, you'll understand why we have a heart for passion to see our kids have greater. The amount of difference that you're going to make in the life of a caseworker who's trying to prepare a court order, watch a kid at the same time and make sure he's fed and cared for, to have a volunteer person on hand where a kid can sit down and play a video game, watch TV, take a nap, and rest in an actual bed while I'm still on the phone fighting with legal to make sure I got all my T's and I's dotted and crossed. I look forward to the opportunity of celebrating with you the house that we will have in our own city that we can call home for our kids until they find a place to go. So I thank you.
Karen, thank you, and thank you for the difficult but important work that you're doing. I would now like to introduce the founder of Isaiah 117, Rhonda Paulson.
It is so good to see this room full. I thank you so much for being here today. We have been praying for this home in Knox County. See, I'm from the Northeast region of the state, and in the Northeast region, we have 800 kids in custody total. And we have 4 Isaiah 117 houses loving on those children every day. But in Knox County alone, 800 children. We need this home. These children need this home. In 2014, I knew nothing about foster care. I didn't know where the DCS office was located. I didn't know what DCS stood for. I didn't know anyone that had walked that journey. But I felt God calling me to foster care classes. And my husband may tell a different story that involves deceit and coercion, but we ended up in foster care classes. And we went that first week. I was real happy. He was not. We went that second week. We didn't speak about it. And when we were coming home that third week, he said, I don't want to do this. And I said, fair enough. You know, you've been a good sport. I tricked you into it. He thought we were going on a date. You know, you've been a good sport. We made it 3 weeks. Fair enough. And he said, oh, don't fair enough me, Rhonda. And I said, what? And he said, you and God have wrecked me. I'm a wrecked man. He said, you've known me for 20 years, and I like simple, safe, and predictable, and nothing about foster care sounds simple, safe, or predictable, and I don't want to do this. But now I know the numbers, and now I know the statistics, and now I know there are children in our county that just need a home. And so we went back united, week 4, week 5, week 6. Week 7, they took us on a field trip. This was my first ever visit to the DCS office in Washington County, Tennessee. Since that time, I've been in several across our state. I've been in several in other states. They are all oddly the same. There's a lobby, you get buzzed back, there's a sea of cubicles, and there's conference rooms. I will say they've updated the Washington County office, but when I was there that night, no color, no windows. I remember the carpet being exceptionally dingy. State-issued furniture. There was a broken VCR off to the right, conference room. And the gentleman leading the class said, when a child is removed from their home, they come here. And I thought, well, surely he's mistaken, because why would you bring a child here? And so I raised my hand. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, but when you say a child comes here, what do you actually mean? And he said, a little girl slept on this floor last night, on that dingy carpet. And I remember my heart, there was actually a pain in my chest. And I remember my shoulders went to the table, and I started crying, and I couldn't pick my head up, and I couldn't not see her. This 6, 7, 8-year-old little girl who left the only mama she'd ever known, and although we might not approve, she did. She'd left her home. We might not live there, but she would. If she was allowed to bring anything, it was in a black trash bag. And she was sleeping on the floor of a conference room. And I remember in that moment being really mad at God. I remember yelling at God in my mind, this isn't fair. This little girl has done nothing wrong. Who's going to tell her? Who's going to tell her she's not in trouble? Who's going to tell her she's loved? Who's going to tell her there's hope? And then I heard God say, these are my children. What are you going to do? And I thought he had the wrong woman. It was too big. What was I going to do? What was I going to do about a fractured foster care system? And so I went back to my simple, safe, predictable life and basically told God no. Until November 5th of 2015 at 3:30 in the afternoon, I received a call from the Carter County Department of Children's Services that a 9-month-old little boy needed a home. And I said, ma'am, I'm going to do something very uncharacteristic. And she said, what's that? I said, I'm going to ask my husband if this is okay. She said, it's a good idea. I remember I called Corey at work and I said, tell me you'll love me no matter what. And he said, you wrecked the car again? I said, no. Tell me you'll love me no matter what. And he said, what's going on? And I said, we're about to get in the hottest mess we've ever been in. He said, there's a baby. I said, there's a baby. He said, I'm on my way. We loaded up our daughter Sophie, who was 12 at the time, and our son Mac, who was 9, and we drove to the back door of the Carter County DCS, and when they opened the doors, there was this fair-skinned, fiery, redhead, chubbiest 9-month-old I'd ever seen. And his outfit was way too small, and so I asked about it, and they said, well, actually, the outfit he was wearing was so filthy, we had to throw it away, and this is what we found in the office for him. And then they handed me his one possession. It was a diaper bag, and I was instructed not to take it in my home for the next 12 to 24 hours so the roaches would crawl out. That was the day that I learned that a child entered our system doing nothing wrong in a borrowed outfit with a roach-infested diaper bag. But he smiled, and he reached for me. His name is Isaiah. And so we took Isaiah home, and I tell people, if your husband's only half on board and you've not had a baby in your house in 9 years, you need Jesus. And so we started reading the Bible, not for the first time, but we started reading through the book of Isaiah, and we landed on Isaiah 1:17, and basically that verse says, do good, seek justice, take care of the widow, take care of the orphan. But I've never liked it when people just grab a verse because it meets their needs or it's cute on a coffee mug or a hashtag. Like, you got to know the context. You got to know what comes before that verse. You got to know what comes after that verse. And so if you look at Isaiah 1:17, the context is God is speaking to his people. And if you look at what comes before it, he's actually quite frustrated. He says, you think I want what you're currently doing? Like, you think I want these new moon festivals and these sacrifices? No. What I want from my people is for you to do good and seek justice and take care of the widow and take care of the orphan. And so that became our verse, and we grabbed a hold of Isaiah and started walking our first ever foster care journey. And what we would learn from 2015 till 2017, we would not be able to walk away from. We would learn about removal day. See, I was a high school teacher, and I knew about children being removed, and in my ignorance, I thought it was to be celebrated. There's nothing to celebrate on removal day. That child just lost everything. Mama, possibly grandmama, their home, their room. There's no promise they'll be placed with those siblings, the only ones that understand their journey. Because we never have enough foster homes, there's no promise they'll be placed in their own county. That means they just lost their school. They just lost that teacher that's been so kind. They just lost their friends at recess. Every aspect of their life comes crashing down. And that child, in that traumatized state, goes to an office to sit and await their fate. With a tile floor and fluorescent lights and people making copies. Office. And the second thing that we learned that we would not be able to walk away from was the plight of the caseworker themselves. I tell people all the time, we're not coming to town because DCS isn't doing their job. We're coming to town because DCS's job is killing them. They are giving it their all. Guess who sits in that cubicle with a traumatized sibling group of 3 for 1 hour, 4 hours, 6 hours, 2 days? That caseworker. You just heard, guess who's using their own money? Guess who's picking lice in the break room? Yet guess who's bathing in drug testing sinks? That caseworker. Guess who's calling their child and saying, I won't be at the softball game tonight. I'm going to be in the office. That caseworker. And the third thing that we learned about was foster families. We need foster families, good foster families. I have traveled all across this state, and not one time have I met one person that said, no, we're good. We need foster families. And I'm telling you right now, this was never the state's calling. This was our calling. From the Old Testament to the New Testament, this was our calling. And it's time to rise up. But I get it. It is not an easy yes. Because that call is going to come at 1:30 in the morning, and they're going to say, we have a sibling group of 3. They have 0 possessions. They all have lice. Can we bring them to your home right now, and can you have them to school in the morning? How do you say yes to that? And so in 2017, actually January of 2017, 1/17, I did not plan it. God is funny. I also traveled to Nashville to meet with the commissioner, Jennifer Nichols, and her office is on the 10th floor, suite number 117. God is funny. In January of 17, I finally said yes to a question that God asked me in 2014, and my yes sounded very much like this. I have no idea what you want me to do, but I will do it. And he took off. I will never know why the creator of the universe invites us into his work. He does not need us. He wants us, and he invites us in. And then he takes off. I remember sitting in a coffee shop and Googling how to start a nonprofit, because if you want God to have the glory, you put someone totally ill-equipped in charge. I remember buying the domain name, Isaiah 117 House domain. Isaiah117house.com. I had no idea what a domain name was, and I still don't understand who GoDaddy is, but I gave them my credit card, and I had a name. Like, it was crazy. We started praying and asking, and we had our first board meeting on February 26th of 2017, and that's when the dream took shape. What if there was a home? What if there was a home? What if when a child is going through the most traumatic day of their life, they don't go to a cubicle or a conference room, they go to a home with big fluffy furniture and tons of color and tons of light. And if you need a bath, we don't have a drug testing sink. We got a bathtub with Elmo bubble bath and Mickey bath toys and a big white fluffy towel we're going to wrap you in. A bath. Teenager, you need a shower? We got shampoo and conditioner and deodorant and a new bra and new underwear and dignity because you've done nothing wrong. What if we could train 40 volunteers and their job is to meet that child at the door, look them in the eye and say, what do you need today? I see you. I hear you. What if there was a home? What if within that home we could have an office space? We'll find out from DCS everything they need, and we will stock it. You come with that Mountain Estates paperwork. You come with that child. You do the paperwork. We'll love on the child, and together we'll do it really well. And by the way, caseworker, what's your favorite coffee? What's your favorite creamer? We're ordering dinner. What would you like? Because you're not alone. What about that call to that future foster family? It may still come at 1:30 in the morning, but now it gets to sound like this. We have a sibling group of 3. They've all been at the Isaiah 117 house. They played outside. They had a snack and dinner. They've had a bath. They have on their new pajamas with their teeth brushed, bags full of stuff, everything they need for the next 2 to 3 days. And by the way, foster family, don't go to Walmart. Don't go to Target. What do you need? You need a booster seat, formula, diapers, wipes, dinner for tomorrow night? Because we can't thank you enough for saying yes. What if there was a home? Who in here's ever been to Carter County, Tennessee? Oh, more than usual because we're kind of close, but like 10. Carter County, there ain't nothing going on in Carter County. I did hear from Randy Boyd yesterday we have the nicest jail. So that kind of puts things in perspective. We've got a Dollar General on every corner. We've got a super Walmart. And we have a state championship football team 2 years in a row. Go Cyclones. But that's it. Carter County, Tennessee rallied around this dream like we'd never seen. And in less than a year, we had a completely paid-for home, debt-free, completely remodeled, fully funded first year's budget in the bank, 40 volunteers trained, every closet full, every cabinet full, and we were ready to serve the children of Carter County. And we stood back and said, look what God has done. And he was laughing because we thought we were done and he was just getting started. Because, of course, he's not going to build a home that's crazy effective at reducing trauma for a child, lightening the load of a caseworker, and easing that transition for that future foster home in just Carter County. And so then Washington County called, and then Greene, and then Sullivan, and then Blunt, and Anderson, and Jefferson, Sevier, and there was this wave going across the state of Tennessee. And then Indiana called. And then we were given fake emails, fake websites, fake names, and we were told that a small documentary company from New York was coming to do a story on us. And so on the day that this small documentary company from New York was supposed to walk through the door of the Carter County house, a gentleman by the name of Mike Rowe, known for dirty jobs, Mike Rowe. If you don't know him, it's okay. I didn't either, and it made it really awkward. He walked through the door of the Carter County house, and he filmed us for 2 days for a little Facebook show called Returning the Favor. And on March 9th of 2020, our episode aired, and 2 million people watched it. And on March 13th of 2020, the world shut down. And while a lot of the world was asking, where is God? I had a front row seat. In the middle of a global pandemic, he opened 2 more homes, and 35 states have reached out, and 2 countries. It's unbelievable. But that's how big the problem is. But I have seen what can happen when God's people rally and say, no more. Not in our county. No more. I'll end with this. I remember our call for our very first teenager. We'd had lots of littles come through the Carter County home, and that's pretty easy. You know, blow bubbles, rock. But then we got a call that a 15-year-old female was coming. And ironically, my daughter was 15 at the time, so you would have thought I would have taken comfort in that. But 15-year-old females are crazy. And so we're starting to panic a little, like, what are we going to do with this 15-year-old female? And then they call back and they say, actually, she spent the night in juvenile detention, a physical altercation with her mom. And we're like, big, angry, crazy 15-year-old female. And so we're like, I don't know, you're going to rock her? No, don't rock her. You're going to bathe her? We're not going to bathe her. And we were all freaking out. And so finally I said, whoa. God built this house for this day for whoever red door. And we're just going to love her. When they opened that red door, the smallest, frailest, most broken little girl was standing before me. And that's not what we expected, so I really butchered the welcome. And finally I said, would you like a shower? She looked up for the first time and she said, I would love a shower. We would later find out it had been a long time since she was allowed a shower. And she went upstairs with our volunteer, Miss Jody, and she took a shower, and Miss Jody gave her everything she needed, a new bra, new underwear, new pajamas, and she came downstairs with her hair in a wet, messy bun and sat down on the couch, and Miss Jody said, I'm going to fix you something to eat. And Miss Jody fixed her something to eat. And they sat down and they ate a meal together. And then she started pouring her heart out to Miss Jody. And the caseworker that was there said, that doesn't happen in a cubicle. That doesn't happen in a conference room. That happens in a home when you feel safe, when you feel loved, and you feel seen. Knox County, we want a home. Thank you.
Rhonda, thank you. Whew, those East Tennessee allergies really get you, right? All right, I now want to introduce Christy Whitehead. She's the program coordinator for Isaiah 117 House here in Knox County.
I really wish when I made the agenda that I put myself before Rhonda because it's really hard to follow that. The only way I know how to follow is with an exciting announcement. Pastor Dave, can you come up here? In order to build a home for these children, we need something very important, and that's land. We looked for months, but either the property was too small or the price was too big. There was always an obstacle until we got a call back from Buffett Heights. And it was literally like walking into an Isaiah 117 house. Because Pastor Dave said, we've got all these resources. And we're going to give them to you. Now let's talk about land. And so I want to publicly thank you and your church for giving us a beautiful piece of property to build this home on.
Casey's right. These allergies are terrible. Wow. We've been here on this property for about 12 years. We've owned it since 2003. We've got almost 30 acres, and we've played on it, and we've worked on it and all that. But in January, Paula showed up. And when Paula showed up with her story, the Lord moved in our heart. And that day, we told her we were giving her land. Now, I don't know if you're Baptist or not, but Baptists don't do that. We don't do anything without a committee meeting and getting the deacons involved and voting on every little thing, except that day, I said, Paula, we've got this. So here we are. Dustin, we have initiated and are almost finalized with breaking about 2 acres of property off that we are right in process now of doing whatever you have to do with the county so the county will say sure And I'm hoping that if we were to have any trouble, there may be somebody in the room that can help us with that. But we are delighted to announce that we are in the final stages of working out the process of handing over 2 acres of property. We've got a picture. This is an aerial photo. In the top left corner, you see the parking lot, and you see a little house just off center. And Dustin, one more. This is the house that we, and the 2 acres that we're giving. Soon that house will be gone, and we will rejoice in that. We have used it from time to time for odds and ends, but its time has come to an end, and so we're looking forward to groundbreaking and moving into property, and we're looking forward to partnering with Isaiah 117 into the future. We don't have a lot to offer, but we have a facility, so if you're coming for training, if you're going to do something, we hope that you'll be here and you can become familiar with what we have as we see children's lives impacted negatively. We want to help be a part of reducing that so that homes can be maybe reestablished and boys and girls can be taken care of. So on behalf of Buffett Heights, we're excited and delighted to be a part of this.
Oh, gosh.
This is incredible to be a part of this, to be here today to watch this happening. I would like to now introduce Khaki Reynolds.
Hey, everybody. I'm not exactly sure how I got mixed up on this agenda after Rhonda and that big announcement. It seems entirely unfair. But here I am, the last thing between you and an afternoon full of work or whatever awaits you out there. Christy Whitehead, the Knox County Program Coordinator, reached out to me last week and asked me to share a little bit about my why. Why am I involved in this initiative? I was a bit overwhelmed. This is definitely not my wheelhouse, but I'm not in the business of telling Christy no. And if you haven't met her, you definitely should. She's a gem of a person, and honestly, I can't imagine a more faithful woman to be leading this charge for our community. A little bit about me. I'm lucky enough to serve on the local advisory board for the Isaiah 117 House. I also work at juvenile court in our Safe Baby Court program. And prior to this role, I was at a nonprofit working with children and families involved in the foster care and delinquency system. So that said, I've been involved with child welfare for a number of years. And if I've learned one thing, it's that this system is broken. I've been in court when a child learns that they aren't going home with their family. I've taken a toddler from a mother's arms to wait and be placed with a stranger. I've sat in the court lobby on an early Tuesday morning with a DCS worker who's been up all night with a child awaiting placement. I've gotten the call from a foster family waiting on a placement in need of a crib to replace a pack and play. And let me tell you that these things aren't happening someplace far away. They're happening today at juvenile court off of Division Street. Children will be waiting at the DCS office this week on Western Avenue if they aren't there right now. And these are Knox County's children. These are our kids. The system is broken by no fault of those who are working in it. Too many children need placement, and there are too few homes. The tasks that await our child welfare staff far outnumber the hours in a day, and the work that we ask them to do is heavier than many people's hearts can handle. So what's my why? I heard Rhonda speak a few years ago at a conference, and her message spoke to me, to the broken system that I see every day. I'm here today because there has to be a better way. And I believe that together we can all be the solution. We can love our children better, we can support our helpers, our foster families, and our workers so they're full, so they can pour into these children and love them how they deserve to be loved. So that's my why. What's yours? You're here today because you care, or because you have a friend who cares, or because you were curious, or because you were hungry. But hopefully, you're leaving with more than a full belly. Hopefully, you're leaving with the nudge to help. Under your plates is a placemat that has the blueprint of the home that we're hoping to build. And in the middle of your table is a card that you can fill out. We hope that you'll give today. And if you feel compelled to do so, please use the card to make a donation. If there's another way that you can help, use the back of the card. Write down any way, any vision, any idea that you have of how you can be a part of this in our community. You can turn those cards into your table host, and the table host will put them in the larger white envelopes to be picked up by our staff and volunteers. The bigger ask I have for you guys goes beyond today. It's that we need your time. We need your talents, your relationships, and your prayer. We ask that you plug in. Ask yourself how you can help and do it. Do you make the most amazing chocolate chip cookies? Maybe you can make them for our very first guest. Are you a drywall guru? Help us hang drywall. We don't necessarily know how to build a house, but we know that you guys are out there and that you do. Help us. Consider the contribution that you can make and reach out. Help us build this house and help us serve our kids. So again, fill out your cards, give them to your table hosts, and I want to thank you guys. We've been talking about this for a very long time, and it's just amazing to see everybody here helping this come to fruition. I'm going to hand it back to our MC.
Thank you, Kaki. Well, I just want to thank everyone so much for being here today. I think you heard from so many different people, and you can see this impact that this place, that this organization is already having on Knox County. You've seen the impact it's made throughout East Tennessee, throughout several different counties, as well as other states. So if you can give today, if you can give your time, give your money, give your efforts, I know they'll really appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here today. There is a merchandise table. I think it's out front if anybody is interested. And if you have any questions, some of the organization members are hanging around as well. So you all are dismissed.
There were walls between us, and by the cross you came and broke them down. You broke them down. And there were chains around us, and by your grace we are no longer bound, no longer bound. You called me out of the grave, you called me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. truth. You're the reason we're here. You're the reason we're singing. Open up the heavens, we wanna see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Your presence in this place, your glory on our face. We're looking to the sky, descending like a cloud. You're standing with us now. Lord, unveil our eyes. You're the reason we're here. You're the reason we're singing. So open up the heavens, we wanna see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Yes, open up the heavens, we wanna see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Show us your glory. Show us your power.